Glad to see lots of familiar faces. We'll get started in a few minutes. Let some more people join us. Hello, good evening, everybody. All right, we're at 6:30. I'm going to get started. I will start recording in a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to let you all know I'll send you the PowerPoint and the recording sometime, if not by Friday, certainly by Monday. We've got a load of information to share, so bear with me. Get your cups of coffee, your tea, or your dessert, or whatever will get you through the next 2 hours, and we'll get started shortly. It's great to see some familiar faces. I feel like it's been a long time. We went from weekly to monthly, and now we're back to our quarterly roundtable. So it feels like it's been quite a while since I've seen you all. I'm going to share my screen. I think I have to do it the other way around. Still figuring it out. Okay. Ready, set. I'm going to start recording.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, welcome everybody to our spring roundtable. If you don't know me, I'm Denise Corvino. I am now one of 4 deputy directors.
Ooh.
I know, we've grown. Can you all see the first slide?
No, I
Okay.
didn't see you guys. But that's good that you've grown, then that means you don't have quite as much on your plate and you guys are sharing the work.
Well, it feels, yes, it feels like there's still a lot, but we are sharing the work and we're growing. So let me try to share again. Let's see if
Oh,
this works.
I just ran up here from taking down the garbage.
Oh my gosh. Did you run upstairs?
Yes, I did, but it's good. My heart needs a little bit of.
All right. All right. Can we see the slideshow now?
Yes.
Yay. All right. So welcome again, Denise Corvino. As usual, we're recording this and we'll share the PowerPoint and the recording with you all within a week, but as soon as possible. And if you have questions, I think I disappeared for a second. All right, let's try this again.
Valandra just called and said she'll be there in a minute. She had to do some medical stuff and she'll be right with us.
She can join us whenever she's ready.
Okay.
Thank you, though. All right, so we've got some updates. We've got, so we'll dig a little bit into the strategic plan to talk about what that means for us and a little bit about our quality assurance program. And so hopefully we'll have enough time at the end, certainly for discussion or questions. But in the meantime, as we go through, as I said, there's a lot of information to cover, but I'll pause every once in a while and ask for questions. Feel free to put anything in the chat if you like, or just unmute yourself and ask your question if something comes up. So this has been quite a year for all of us, and I put this slide up so that when you get it, you'll have your notes, so you don't have to take notes today. But we'll go through all our updates for the San Francisco Department of Early Childhood. And I was trying to remember the last time we met, and I was actually sitting at this window, but I remember I had to have all my lights on because it was dark, so it was probably fall, early winter. So it's been several months. But we have had quite a year for our children and for all of us. We are officially the Department of Early Childhood, combining, First Five OECE, First Five and OECE. And we've completed our department's first strategic plan, which we'll talk about in a little while. And now we have a new brand. If you've seen our logo, it's over here on the left, a little tangram bird. But we've also been doing other things. One of the biggest things we've done for access is changing our eligibility rate from 85% state median income to 110% area median income. So that really means families with higher income, which we know doesn't go that far in San Francisco, have more access to our local funding. And between bringing on new programs and other current programs that have expanded, we have added 219 new childcare spaces. So bringing on more access, making sure families are able to find us when they need us, and trying hard to do that. Another exciting thing for all of us is really the number of educators we have reached with our compensation initiatives. Between our early educator salary support grant and our stipends, we have reached over 2,500 educators who have gotten a little extra from our funding, which is amazing. And still working on the process and the grants and so on. So hopefully we'll just get better and stronger. And then something we started this year was rolling out our digital developmental screening tool, which is Sparkler. And this is something that we're starting with a small number of programs to see how it works, what supports are needed. But really, we've gotten some great reviews that this has been a very helpful tool for people to fill out the ASQs and to help talk to families about their children's development. All right. So we have launched our new website with our new logo. I don't know if people have seen this yet. We're still transitioning from the old websites to the new one. So if you were to go to San Francisco OECE, this link would pop up, but some of the things that you need and use, some of the resources are still on the old website. So we're slowly bringing everything over, reviewing what's needed and what we can let go of and what needs to be updated. But as you see, we have our tangram puzzle, which we've been having fun with different shapes and using as we're trying to message to families. Brenda, did you have your hand up?
Oh, yeah. I just got a package dropped off to me today and I didn't look at it. And just now I did. And it has that puzzle. I got it. And it has a notebook.
Yeah,
Put this on it and some bibs. I
nice.
forgot the woman's name. I mean, she was really nice.
Was it one of our coaches who dropped it off?
I'd never met her before. And these are the bibs with the logo on it as
That's the
well.
sweetest. Yeah, so we're starting to
Oh,
spread our logo and our fun swag. We've had fun shopping. So that's great. The good demonstration, Brenda. Thank you.
you're
So,
welcome.
so will everybody get that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out where Brenda got it.
I don't know the name of the lady that brought it to me.
Someone actually dropped it off. We'll
Yeah,
find
they
out.
dropped it off.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll make sure we start spreading some of the stuff though. I know where they've hidden all the swag, so I'll dig in the storage closet.
I think it's cute.
It's darling. Yeah, there's some really fun stuff. And so on our new website, we also have our job postings. So if you or anybody you know is looking for the next phase in their career, please take a look. We'll be posting jobs over the next at least 4 to 6 months at the very least. We are planning on growing, which is why we have more deputy directors, because we have different units now, and we'll be loading up to help our funding, including Baby Prop C. And so if you haven't seen anything, oh, look, Nancy, you have seen bus stop signs. Yes, we have launched our Big Splash campaign. And so the first phase of the campaign is we're really looking for brand recognition. We want families and our partners to know who DEC is, to celebrate our new department, and eventually we'll start doing different campaigns. So for instance, a couple of weeks ago, we launched the Week of the Young Child campaign because we were doing some work with family resource centers. And so you'll start hopefully seeing us around town. So we're on buses, we are on billboards, we are even in underground on some digital platforms at the new Chinatown station. So it's pretty exciting. Yep, Nancy's been around town watching it. So if you happen to see one of our signs and you feel like taking a selfie and sending it to me, we are having so much fun at the office, taking pictures of each other. The group even went one evening to look for billboards and things. So it's been fun. Yeah, Brenda.
Okay, Family Connections dropped it off.
So that's part of our family connections, family resource centers. Great. I'll check in with Family Connections and see. We did, yeah, that's probably part of our Week of the Young Child campaign, that we did give a lot of the gifts to our family resource centers to spread it out. So I'll find out who else they're going to go visit. We'll make sure everybody gets a little something. So here we go. And so this is the campaign. I'd love to see if anybody else has seen our billboards at all yet. Not yet. Well, get out there and look. Maybe they're up high somewhere. I know we've started in the Bayview, Outer Mission, and as I said, the Chinatown station. So there's different places, and there'll be more coming. So keep an eye out. All right. So some of the initiatives we've been working on, some you know about, and some probably haven't talked to you about yet, but we have a few things coming around. So one thing that's in process right now, so we're reviewing programs or an agency's initiatives, is the Community Building and Peer Support Request for Proposals, RFP. And this is the grant that helps organizations with advocacy for early childhood. It helps for community building, field building, and that kind of thing. So one example of an organization that had the grant last time we put this out is Early Childhood Educators of San Francisco. So that's one example. And we're hoping this time around we'll be able to support more organizations. And that's right now, like I said, we're reviewing the applications right now. The next one came out just Monday, and we'll be sending out emails to different organizations about a new RFP, a new opportunity, recruiting and retaining a diverse workforce. And so this one really wants to highlight the work of bringing our providers who might have faced barriers due to racial oppression, systemic racial oppression, and due to other things to help break down those barriers. So there's different parts to this RFP. Some of it is at high level, building pipelines, bringing in new members into the workforce, all the way to organizations developing anti-racist policies or trainings for their own staff. So a few different things coming out there. That one, the deadline is in May. So hopefully we'll start seeing some new organizations that we'll work with over the summer. And then coming soon, mid-May, fingers crossed, will be our educational pathways. And this is the one that will help pay for college courses and degree attainment and supports for that. So one of the higher ed colleges that had this grant previously was San Francisco State University. So something to look out for. And once we have that in place, we'll be able to do more around paying for people's college education and supports around that. So we lost a year in this past year. We weren't able to release it this year. So there's been a gap. So we're looking forward to getting that going. We're also hoping to be able to fund more than one or two schools. We're going to try to branch out. We'll certainly support schools in San Francisco, but we also know there's other colleges out there that people might want to attend. So if you remember this little diagram, the little arrow with our phases for our initiatives, we've already launched and have been working on phase 1 and 2, which is basically workforce compensation. And then phase 4 will be coming in May. The one that we're going to pause right now until we know what's happening with the budget is working conditions or workplace conditions. This is one that was close to my heart, and it would have supported maybe training hours or other things to help working conditions beyond wages and benefits, helping support that. We're not letting go of it completely, but we are going to hold off on doing it because we want to make sure our budget is at a point where we're able to sustain the workforce compensation and the pathways. So those are our higher priorities right now. As you might know, or you might remember, Baby Prop C is funded by a commercial rent tax. And so we're still getting income from it, but we're not getting as much as was projected because of the situation in San Francisco. So we're going to let things stabilize before we move on to any bigger initiatives. Yes, Brenda.
When you say rent tax, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the Baby Prop C funding that we get comes from commercial rent tax. So businesses that are bigger, and I don't know the actual number, I think they're bigger than 50 staff, it might be a little bigger than that, but they pay a commercial rent tax that feeds Baby Prop C funding. And so there's still businesses certainly that we're getting taxes from, but as you hear of different companies leaving the city, so there are projections get a little bit lower because they're not paying tax in San Francisco anymore. Any other questions on anything we've covered so far?
Denise, out of curiosity, this is
Yes.
Ina.
Hi, Ina.
Hi. The educational pathway, is there going to be any collaboration between West Ed and colleges? Because, you know, we're getting so many trainings with West Ed, which are at the same capacity and standard, if not higher, really, as the universities. Would be great to get educational credit for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I actually just had a conversation with one of our partners at West Ed about that and starting to about, let's start getting some college credits for these things. And when we release, so we have one more year for our contract with them, and then we'll release a new RFP. I want to actually put that language in there so that it's part of the requirements, especially for those really in-depth. I mean, some of the West Ed trainings are probably more in-depth than some college courses I've taken. So I absolutely agree with you on that. Yes. All right. And we're still working on it. So maybe I could put something in there for the colleges.
That will really be great because, you know, for most of us that have done our 20 hours, you know, that we do at 21 hours, whatever it is. When we do the additional hours, there's no credit or anything for it. And
Yeah.
as she brought out, it's really in depth, and a lot of the trainings we are taking,
Yeah.
I truly enjoy them. And most of them are Zoom. So it's wonderful that we would be able to do that and still get college credits for it. That would be wonderful.
I agree. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm writing that note down so that we can see what we can help with.
And
Thank you.
Denise, another not as important question out of curiosity, the Sparkler system,
Mhm.
is it the former child folio system?
I think it is related. I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So CARES 3.0, we are in the middle of our April round, and I just got a note right before we logged in today to Zoom from Marisa, who's helping us with CARES. There's 66 family child care teachers or educators who have not applied for CARES. So if you're somebody who hasn't applied for CARES yet, please do. If you have a colleague who you know is in an ELS program, please remind them. We want to make sure we get everybody. And luckily we have, because we've been using the registry and we've been doing this for a few years now, we have a lot of the names of people who did apply. So we're able to reach out to them. So that's why we know there's 66. Now there might be some new staff who we don't know about who haven't applied yet either, but we want to make sure people get out there. The deadline is going to be a hard deadline this year because we just don't have the capacity to keep stretching it out, but we have all the supports you need. If you applied but didn't get a confirmation email, go back in, because we want to make sure everybody gets their stipend. The good thing is, like I said, we know who's applied and who hasn't, so we will be reaching out to those 66, but we want to make sure we spread the word. In the meantime, so this slide's a little old, but we had last week we had 900 plus educators who have successfully applied. Now we're up in the thousands, so that's great. We certainly still offer TA support, and there's technology support from Help Desk, and there's other support from us and the registry, but we haven't really had a lot of people ask for tons of help, which is exciting. It means that our process is stable enough that people have gone through it a few times, so it's not a big deal. So Ms. Gastineau, did you have a question?
Yes, Denise does. Will it show, and excuse me, will it show in our registry that we've already applied?
It should, yes. You should be able to check. You should have gotten an email that said confirmation. And then if you go into the registry as part of the application, you should be able to see that you've applied. And I'm actually going to stop sharing for a second. Actually, I'll send you some links just to make sure everybody has, before we're finished, I'll put some links in the chat, but I don't want to stop sharing right now because I had a little trouble. And then everybody went through redetermination. We wanted to make sure that if you were at an orange or blue tier, but you brought in more children with subsidies, that you were able to bump up that tier, because it affects how much you're getting paid. So that was something that we feel like was successful. People who had questions, we were able to answer them. And so we're verifying those tiers right now. And so you'll be, if you haven't already, you should be getting an estimated amount of how much you're getting. And then if it's more than that, we'll send you a new email. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes. And we have an amazing, small but mighty team. All right. Any other questions about CARES? Good. Old hat now, which is good. We're trying to, anytime somebody says,
Denise,
yes.
I'm sorry, this is
Sorry.
Lisa.
Hi,
Hi,
Lisa.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the CARES, I have a question. The tax document needed to reach out, do we have to send tax documents to upload?
Yes,
on the web?
you do. So we do require a 1099 form. And so, Lisa, if you haven't seen that, I can send you the information to get that document.
Okay, would you please?
Yep, absolutely. And that's
Thank you.
something, yeah, absolutely. And again, our staff are kind of going by each teacher that we know about. And so
Mhm.
if we're missing something, we'll make sure we ask you for it, but we'll send you something.
Thank you.
Great. And before we move on to strategic plan, since I saw Lisa's name there, thank you, Lisa. I do want to recognize and welcome some new programs. I won't name you by individually, but we have at least a dozen new family childcare programs who have joined ELS since our last roundtable. So a big welcome to you all. And in particular, we have a special pilot program, our African American cohort. And so this is a group who have graciously accepted my invitation to work as a cohort. What we're doing is putting together a small cohort to work directly with Good Rural and a coach to work on our standards. So we're trying to, this is a pilot so that we can figure out how to break down the very lengthy process to join ELS that we have right now. So figuring that out. So thanks to, in particular to that group, and welcome to our newbies. And I'm glad to see some of you here. All right, so our strategic plan. We have been working, I think we've been working on a strategic plan for at least 2 years, which is amazing that it took that long, but it was worth it because we have quite a strong strategic plan. And one of the things that we're particularly proud of is really how this plan has come together with the input from parents, particularly parent voice, but also our partners and our providers. And so we're pretty excited because the creation of the Department of Early Childhood puts San Francisco at the national forefront. You'd be surprised at how many ECE departments from around the country are calling us to talk about our strategic plan and to talk about our workforce compensation. So it's a pretty exciting time to be part of San Francisco and figuring out how to do the best with what we have. And so this also can somebody put yourself on mute? So as you know, research shows that being ready for kindergarten is a key educational benchmark that leads to continued success. And with that, we know children need support from family, community, and our systems to be ready for kindergarten. Unfortunately, and this is a national problem, but we see it in San Francisco, structural racism has prevented too many San Francisco children from being ready for kindergarten and achieving their full potential. Black, Latino, Pacific Islander, and Indigenous children in particular face persistent inequities in health, social, and cognitive skills that support their success later on. And despite the funding or the investments that First Five San Francisco and OECE have put in and the child development work that we have done, we're still seeing racialized outcomes in our kindergarten readiness. Our children of color are still showing low outcome scores. And so because of that, one of the commitments we made as the Department of Early Childhood is to advance racial equity as one of our key components for our strategic plan for the next 5 years. And so that's one piece that goes throughout the whole plan. The other piece is parent voice. Unlike anything either of the organizations have done before, we really stepped up our work with parents. We had numerous work groups with different groups of parents, different languages, different ethnicities, to really get their voice. And many parents stuck with us for 3 or 4 meetings throughout several months. So we're very excited to have had that part. And because of that, we really believe that the co-design of this has made our strategic plan and therefore our work much stronger. And one of the things we are committed is to not, sometimes you see strategic plans and people and organizations put them in a drawer. They're like, oh, we did it, we're done. We really see this as the beginning of the work for moving forward for the Department of Early Childhood. And so one of the things we heard that is exciting and also a note for how we can improve, but time and time again from parents, we heard that the investments that we're making, the strategies that we have are the right ones: early learning, child health, and family strength. They're the right ones to focus on. But Parent Insight made it clear that to address racialized outcomes, we must advance racial equity across our system of care, and doing that by improving user experience. So what we're offering is good, but we need to improve how we deliver. increasing accessibility and really making sure we are understanding how to best deliver our programs and services. So moving from, and we've started doing this over the last few years, but moving from a one size fits all to what communities need on an individual basis to the best that we can. And so the core strategies are the same. The priorities really are different in that we're focusing on advancing racial equity in our policies, amplifying parent voice, increasing cultural responsiveness, and increasing transparency in communications. And I think we've always felt like we've been transparent. I think our challenge has been just things have been moving so fast. We need to make decisions and we need to do things quickly. So it's easy to forget, oh, wait, we need to go through this outreach process. We need to go through getting input from everybody. And so what we're trying to learn is to take a step back, to take a deep breath and take our time so that we can be transparent in all the work we're doing before we make decisions, because we want to make sure our partners, including you all, are part of that decision making. So we're working on it. We are thinking about it, particularly in our division, our early learning division, of what that means to us. So here's some examples of how we're working on the strategic plan with what we're doing now. And then as we make policies later, it will be influenced by our strategic plan. So our division are really thinking about a few things as far as examples. We're reviewing our quality standards. You all are very familiar with the 10 quality standards, but we want to take a step back and think about and identify which of the top 3 or 4 are the ones that are going to most impact a child's experience. And so we'll think about that in terms of how we offer teacher support and education. And so that's going to be connected. Instead of all of us worrying about all 10 right now, let's focus on the things that are going to have the biggest impact. Another example is access to early care and education. So again, something we've slowly been working on, but we think we need to have a more concerted effort, is really going beyond helping parents get a space, but really making sure those spaces are great experiences for children and families. So this is where our enrollment and access will connect to our quality standards and trying to create a loop so that we're all working together towards the common goal. And then the last example is quality assurance and monitoring. And so we actually talked about this a couple of years ago, and then the pandemic hit, and all plans were laid aside. But we are coming back to the idea of quality assurance and monitoring. And so we can't have true change, and we can't tailor our supports, our professional development supports, until we know what's needed. And that comes with firsthand dialogue with every ELS program. That comes with site visits, that comes with documentation review. And so we want to make sure our programs are high quality and engaged in continuous quality improvement. From your work caring for and educating our youngest children, to your work engaging with families and keeping up with documentation. And as we do this, it's more about, again, continuous quality improvement than a checklist of what you're doing well and what you're not doing. That's not what this is about. And so we have produced a quality assurance review guide, and this is designed to support the full quality assurance, access, and enrollment monitoring lifecycle to help everyone understand, and again, for that transparency of what we're going to be looking at when we come out on site visits, what we're going to talk about. Those of you who have gone through our validation process, so these would be our newer ELS programs, you kind of have an idea of what you have a very good idea of what this is going to look like. It really is a dialogue about how you're doing with quality standards. It's a dialogue about how your enrollment is going. It's a dialogue about what supports do you need and what are the challenges that are in place. So we want to make sure we balance what we require and balance with what we can support. And so it's a work in progress. This is something that we will do together. I see you, Brenda, just a sec. This is something that we're going to start out small. And everybody, if we're going to start with a site visit, we'll absolutely let you know way in advance and tell you what we're going to be looking at. But we'll start out with a few programs. first of all, because we don't have a lot of staff, and second of all, because we want to test it out before we release this full force. Brenda, did you have a question?
That was a question. That was it. Can we receive what it is that you guys are going to be looking for ahead of time? Or you
Yes.
guys, so that we can actually be looking at these things ourselves and making sure that we're going through them ourselves as we're trying to meet the needs of the children. It would be wonderful. We used to
Yes.
have a personal self-assessment
Mhm.
that we get as providers. Is it going to be similar to that?
Very similar. It's probably going to look almost identical because the same staff are working on it. So yeah, what we're doing right now is we're working on the tool is trying to decide, and our team hasn't agreed yet, of how much is too much. And so we have one side of the team saying, well, if we give them that much information, they're going to get stressed out and worried, thinking we're going to ask all these questions. And the other half of the group are saying, yeah, but let's just give them everything we want to talk about, not that we're going to check each and everything, but more as a guide, right? That self-assessment. So part of the work is, how are we going to roll it out? How are we going to do this so that our intention is absolutely not to stress anybody out. But I know that anytime you say quality assurance and monitoring, it can be stressful. Anybody coming out to talk to you can be a little stressful. So we're figuring out how to do that in a very sensitive way. Brenda.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
When you guys decided to roll this out and make it up with the group, did you guys have childcare providers that are working along with you guys? You're doing the process?
No, I think that's a great question, and we haven't gotten to that step yet. And so that's where the small launch is going to start out with, is getting that feedback and making adjustments as we go along. And there's nothing here that is going to, it's not like we're going to issue violations. We're not licensing, and we don't even want to pretend to be anything like licensing. This really is about continuous quality improvement. And so this will be in that spirit. And really, again, getting to know our programs. We want to make sure that we're planning well for all of you. Mm-hmm. But again, this is a preview. We will have more sessions together about what it could look like, and we'll get feedback from providers. And this is one of those situations where I very much encourage the feedback at any point in our process, because we want to make sure it's something that's helpful and not a hindrance. Great. Yeah. And yeah, our newer ELS programs, I think the programs I've worked with individually, I feel like we've had some good dialogue, we've had some good back and forth, and it's been more of a help. And so yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll do that. Nothing to worry about yet. Nothing's going to happen until we inform you ahead of time and give you all those resources.
Well, it's just be good to have anyway, so we can check ourselves to see that we are doing what is expected of us, has been the new ones that's coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that comment. This really is in the spirit of improving and supporting. So, if we all feel that way, I think hopefully it will not be a stressful situation.
Mm-hmm.
Denise, you're on mute.
Well, that's weird. I got lost and then I got on mute. I'm assuming my screen is no longer shared. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We'll get there. I wonder what's going on today. Technology, huh? And I see my window's getting darker. So, okay. Moving forward, before we are able to monitor and before we are able to do anything like that, we want to make sure you're feeling strong, you're feeling supported, and we have the resources out there. So we wanted to put in a little plug for our partners, particularly Children's Council, and we support a group of coaches to help, particularly working with family and child care. Ina, did you have a question?
Thank you. Quick one, in relation to collaborations, is there any collaborative talk or check-ins with the licensing department?
Our team does work with licensing, but more on the environment funding through LIF part of it. We
Okay.
don't really do a lot with them in terms of licensing regulations, and we'll check in once in a while. There are some meetings that have happened where licensing has been included, but there's not a really strong connection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And if you have any ideas about that, happy to hear them. And so, yeah, as I was saying, we want to make sure that you all know about our committed coaches from both Children's Council and WUI. And I don't know, I think, well, Nancy's here. I don't know if anyone else is here from that team. Give us a little wave if you are there, or introduce yourselves in the chat. I'm sure most of our family and child care providers know our coaches better than I do. It's been a while, but we wanted to share this important work that they're doing. And really, this is the core part of our work for our professional development. And we know that coaching takes trust and commitment and communication and understanding. So we really do see this as part of the journey. I love the idea of it's a unique journey for each educator, because we're all in different places of our professional development, but we all have room for growth and improvement and sharing new ideas and so on. And so you'll see this when you get this PowerPoint, but we wanted to share the coaching statement, and this is really what they're standing behind and what they think about coaching. And really, it's that that key is that relationship. And I invite any of the coaches right now, if you want to say anything, please shout out. Thanks for introducing yourselves. Oh, look, Bibi's here. Emily, hello. Nancy, Cindy. All right.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, Phoebe. How you doing?
Good. It's
Welcome.
going well. Hi, everybody. Good evening. We actually, this was like a document of like lots of love and effort, and just we really, really care about all of you as family and child care providers, and we know all of the hard work that goes into it every single day, and what it means to show up to a coaching session, to training, to a PLC. And now we're even doing some hybrid stuff in the community. And we just wanted to honor the work and the effort that you all do. And so we came up with what it means to have this coaching alongside all of you. And for those of you that are new, this is possibly a new stretch experience, but for those of you that have been around for a while and know the work that we do with you, alongside with you, it's essentially a statement that honors the work that we do together and the partnership and what it means. So we were really excited to share it with all of you. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you, and we honor our partners in this, because there's a lot of work to be done, and we certainly can't do it on our own. So thank you all. Great. All right. And so there's also the technical assistance statement. So this is in addition talking about targeted support. And this is a link that I'll put in my email when I send you this PowerPoint. You'll have it in there, but just to highlight it, we do have an online request form. So if you're saying, hey, how can I get one of these great coaches, we could team you up as capacity allows, and the online request form will ask you some questions about what you want to work on and those kinds of things to help us best make a match. All right, we're getting there. So this coming fiscal year, so July 1st, we are going to increase the rates that you get paid for ELS vouchers, 3%. Really a cost of doing business increase. With the increase in our eligibility and the budget projections and so on, we were still committed to giving a rate increase, but we're doing a minimal one now, so that we make sure again that our funding gets to all the places we need to fund. But we feel like we didn't want to not give anything, so this is our general cost of doing business is 3%, so we've built that in. So hopefully by after July 1st, you'll see a little bump in your checks, your enrollment checks. So we have some updates to our operating guidelines, and hopefully you all know where the operating guidelines are found, but I will send that link along with this PowerPoint. It basically, the operating guidelines are our policy handbook. And usually if there's a question you have about, is this allowed or is this allowed, it's probably in our guidelines. I will tell you it's about 80 pages, and I still have to look it up when somebody asks me a question, and that's okay. It's a resource guide. That's what it's there for. But we did want to point out a couple of changes. One is this will be new for July 1st. We are putting together a suggestion box, because we do sometimes get great ideas, but we want to have a more formal process so that if somebody has a great idea, they feel comfortable and willing to share it with us. Because I hear from particular providers, but I know there's a lot of people I don't hear from. So keep an eye out for that. So we also have, here's the updates. So we also have seen quite an increase in particularly family childcare providers or owners, programs operating with multiple shifts. So an AM and a PM session. And so we've put in some guidelines, some policies to make sure that's done in a way that's sensitive to families, in a way that's healthy and safe. So if you're thinking about multiple shifts or you operate with multiple shifts, I strongly encourage you to look at the operating guidelines, to look at the list of requirements. It's something that this wasn't something that we heard about a lot before, but we're hearing about it more and more. And I think it's an effort to try to take care of more children. A lot of programs will open earlier or close later to try to split those two shifts. So we just want to provide that guidance. So COVID is no longer an emergency situation, so we're shifting our COVID closure policy. And this is, we're still going to support providers for 5 working days if an owner, FCC owner, is test positive, and you're unable to continue operating because of the isolation period or because you're not well. This is kind of specific to COVID-19. And so we're doing this now 5 days. And then hopefully this will never happen, but things happen. If there's a second positive diagnosis within a 12-month period, you certainly are eligible for another 5 days, but this is where we ask you to contact Children's Council or WUI to talk us through it, because we're tracking it in a little different way in terms of how we pay for COVID-19 absences. Hearing less and less about it, I am hoping, and it sounds like it's less of an issue, but we don't want to pull the support out altogether yet. All right. And then our last update, and this is a thank you from somebody who is in the room. She called me up one day and said, "Hey, Denise, I have a good idea." And we agreed. So we are going to support jury duty. So if you, we do want to encourage the participation of your civic obligation by performing jury duty. So if there's a case where you are unable to continue the operation of your program because you're going to jury duty, let us know, because we want to make sure you receive payment for those days. And so there are new instructions. Those will be released in the July 1st operating guidelines. But thank you, Ms. Brenda, for that recommendation. And so this is a situation that kind of inspired the suggestion box, because it's one of those, not everybody in the room either knows how to get in touch with all of us directly or feels comfortable enough doing it. So we want to, again, make sure we're open and transparent and encouraging ideas, because sometimes you can make a difference. So thank you. All right, this is the time where I get to stop sharing and see all your beautiful faces. And I'm actually going to stop recording now, because hopefully
The recording has stopped.
you have questions. And my room just went completely dark. The sun has set. So anyhow, hold on one second. I am going to turn on my light. Okay, right back. All right, we'll see if that helps. That's a little better. Anyhow, so open forum. Do you have any questions about anything we talked about this evening? Anything else that we didn't talk about, or any information or news you want to share?
Denise, I have a question about the DEC enrollment tracking system. I wasn't able to join the meeting. My Zoom link did not work. So I don't know much about it. Can you just tell us a few words about it? When we have to participate and how long time we have? Can you offer more training? Thank you.
Yeah, good question. So we have just started launching. It's in, I would say, and they're, I don't know what the letters are going to stand for. It's DEETS, D-E-T-S. And I'm sorry, I completely blanked out on the name, but it is a new tracking system. So as you know, we aren't able anymore to use COCO, and so we were trying to develop something, and so this is what we've landed on for now, trying to make it easy and accessible. We're in the very ends of testing, and programs are using it, but we're still finding some kinks and things. So don't worry, you haven't missed out if you're not part of the training yet. There will be more training. There will be opportunities for more programs to join in, and at some point we'll say, okay, it's time for everybody to do it, because we've ironed out all the wrinkles. So there will be more. I did put Susanna's name. So Susanna Cheng is in charge of this project. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email her. She's our expert in that. But thanks for asking.
Denise, definitely. So I worked with Susanna before. I've been using Childfolio for years. And if possible, would love to get on the testing kind of pilot program.
Great. Yeah, send Susanna an email. She's
will do.
Very accessible and happy to share her information about this new project.
Hi, everyone. Denise, I have a question.
Hi.
For the PFA families, is going to be any changes this 24-25 year? Actually, 20, well, this coming school year.
Yes, for 2023-24, we're not anticipating any changes.
So everything will be
everything will be the same. Yeah, we still haven't made any decisions about PFA, and part of that is figuring out where we're going with everything. And so if and when we make changes to PFA, we'll definitely give plenty of time before we make those changes.
Yeah, I'm asking you that just because of all the UPK thing in place.
Yeah.
So what we don't want as a FCC is to lose oral TK or PFA students to the school district. So we just want to offer the same opportunities to parents who wants to continue with us.
Absolutely, and we want to not only encourage that, but support that. So, and it says Esperanza, but it sounds like Elena. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, wait a minute.
I'm sorry, she shared the link.
I know it's been a long time, but it hasn't been that long. So yeah, just so you know, Elena and everybody else, we are working very closely on two fronts. One is we are working closely and trying to meet regularly with the San Francisco School District. And we're also now just starting with CPAC, who's starting UPK working groups. And so with that, we hope that we still work towards, and DEC plans to help lead us towards our universal pre-K, meaning a citywide system. And so we're now starting to think about what that means in terms of enrollment for programs. So something to remember, the school district is only at their peak in their 5-year plan, they're only going to go up to 1,600 children that they're going to serve, where we know we have 4,000 who need care. So there's while some particular programs might be impacted because their individual families are leaving, we don't see a huge impact. But to make sure that there isn't a negative impact on our ELS programs, we also are looking at what does it mean to be a UPK program? And so what are the supports that DEC needs to put in to make sure you're at that level where a parent has a true choice between a school district and a community ECE program.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Denise, I also have a question about PFA, kind of connected to CKA program. Because the deadline usually for the parents to be qualified for the PFA is the December 2nd. The child needs to be 4 years old. So if, for example, I have a few families whose kids are turning 4 in January, and they're so excited about the discount. And if they don't get the discount because they're January kids, the following year, they will be qualified for TK because TK requirement is moved, and now they need to be 4 years old by April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, is there a possible we can move PFA, maybe instead of December 2nd, the kids can turn 4 years old by January, by end of January, so the parents really at least 1 year discount before they move to transitional kindergarten.
I think that's a good idea. It's something we'll bring up to our team. I just put Armando and Jason's emails in there. I would pop them that question, because it might be that at the very least on a case-by-case basis right now, we might try it out versus changing the whole policy right away. But put the bug in their ear, and I will too. I'll follow up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To be to the families.
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good strategy, right? To help keep PFA a little more accessible as we're thinking.
Definitely, yeah. And it's like, wow, transitional kindergarten, our deadline is April 2nd.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else?
Hi, Denise. This is Lisa. I have a question still about the 1099. By me being new to ELS, I received my 1099 through Children's Council, but that was back in January of this year. So should I use that, or do I need to request a new one now?
Yeah, let me check, Lisa. I'm going to connect you with Marisa, who's our CARES staff person.
Okay.
And she'll be able to help you, because I actually don't know the answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
I will do that. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Seems like we're run out of questions. Anything else?
Sorry, I was on mute.
I wasn't sure if you were talking to us or not.
Thank you. I have a question about the infant toddler conference. I really wanted to sign in, and I was like right looking at the minute I got the mail, tried to sign in, nothing available, waiting list.
We were all shocked about how quickly the spaces just disappeared. We're actually just kind of recovering from like, wait, what? It's already full? How did that happen? Which is exciting, because it means it was a very necessary conference. So actually today, Kathy from Wested, who Wested is organizing it for us. We're starting to think, do we have another one in the next fiscal year, like in between? So we're hoping this will be an annual event, but now we're thinking, do we have one in between before next June? So maybe fall or something like that, to bring in, because we have about 80 people right now on the waiting list, and so we certainly have enough for another summit. So we're looking at that to see costs and availability and all of that. But we're definitely, if there's interest there, we would be happy to support that.
Thank you.
One of the things I'm very eager, I'm hoping this is just the beginning infant toddler program for our city, because that's where we need a lot of our support and encouragement. Ms. Brenda.
Yes. That the summit is a very good thing. Now I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in it.
Go for it.
Ask if you guys are going to do it, could you please do it Zoom? Because there's a lot of us that wanted to look at Ina. A lot of us wanted to do it, and I would be willing to give up like 2 Saturdays for 2 months to do it on Zoom. Could you please throw that in there?
I was, yeah, I think there's probably opportunity for both venues, right? There's people who want to and can come overnight, and I think the vision was bringing everyone together post-pandemic and having this great community together, but that doesn't work for everybody.
No.
Completely
And for
understand that.
me right now with my autoimmune disease,
Yeah.
still am not going out within the community like that,
Mhm.
doing that. So
Yeah.
it would be wonderful if you guys would open that up, because I am an infant toddler
Yeah.
program here. And so it'd be wonderful if you could do this Zoom.
Thank you. I will bring that to the committee, and by committee, it's 3 of us, so it shouldn't be too hard to have this conversation. But really, whether it's the specific summit or some kind of modification to that would work online, we can certainly work on that. And as I said, I'm hoping this is just the beginning. So, visioning this could be having in-person offerings, having online offerings, and then seeing what else we can do, and then connecting those credits, right? Those college credits to all of this. We'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And on the same coin, a little more advanced notice would be so helpful.
Okay. So what's an ideal? Because I know it's hard to get away for
2
2 nights.
2 months, 2 months, 3 months ahead.
So it's in June. So maybe March.
Oh, it's in June. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. Why did
Yeah.
I think it was in May? It's in
No,
June.
it's in June. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was good, but maybe a little bit more if we can.
No. This is good. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. There's probably something in May. There's things happening in May too. Yeah. All right.
Hi, Denise. This is Esperanza.
Hey, Esperanza.
How are you?
Good.
Just wanted to ask you something about college units, the child development classes for new providers or for providers who haven't been able to enroll.
Mhm.
So you know that they're having a lot of, trouble getting into those classes. Do you have a plan about that?
Yeah, so right now we've been contracting with City College, and so they have just a certain amount of capacity, which is why we run out of space, particularly in different languages. What we're going to do with that educational pathway RFP is hopefully bring on more higher ed or other colleges and universities so that we can actually reach more people. So that's part of what that RFP is gonna be about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will work.
It should, we build a little bit by little bit. One of the reasonings behind opening up the RFP to more than one or two, more than San Francisco's higher ed schools is because we're attaching college courses to stipends and other things. We hope that there'll be a higher demand. And so we want to make sure that the supply is there.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Denise, this is Lisa again.
Oh, yes.
I have a question. I've been trying to see if my program is eligible, on the list of ELS, and I can't find it.
Okay, Lisa, let me check. And you're fairly brand new, so it might be that we're still working on all those little details. And so I'll double check. And Susan, who's been working with me and helping me, Susan Liu has been amazing in helping me make sure those dots are dotted and so on, is out this week. So I'll check in with her next week to see where those lists are.
Okay.
Good, thank you. No, it's important for us to know that hasn't happened yet, because we want to make sure everyone's fully on board.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And let's see, Oscar has put something in the, oh, good. Thank you, Oscar. They're having their monthly board meeting with a special guest speaker from a fetch-in from FCCHN. So take a look at that. And our Family Child Care Association has been skilled at having the big group with multilingual capacity. And so someday DEC will learn from them. Nice sometimes to have the whole group together. All right. Well, I want to give you back your night if people don't have more questions or comments, but I'll give you another minute. All right, I'm going to put in
Can I just make a last comment?
Please.
Yeah, I was thinking about the information that Oscar just put it up. We have been talking about this for some time now. Sometimes we have important meetings on the same day, on the same time. Like today, we had the CCPU meeting, so we needed to choose. Tomorrow, we're having the association. I don't know if there should be a way, because it's hard, to make a decision which one I'm gonna be attending. So I know it's hard, but
it is hard, Esperanza, and I know that I'm sure you all have been talking about it even before I got to OECE, right? Which is 5 years now. I've been here for 5 years now. And it's one of those where, although we can require organizations that we fund to put on our calendar, we can't require everybody else to do it. And so it's just kind of hard, particularly right now. So one of the things that we are looking at, and some of you are probably participated, we worked with some consultants from Start Early to help us with further outreach and thinking about how we're building our family childcare systems. And so nothing happening right away, but once we staff up, we're actually thinking about how we have some of the recommendations have been that common calendar, have been the navigator for trainings and things like that. So we'll be looking at that probably, I'm going to say at the end of 2023, early 2024, to really think about our FCC systems, because I know that in particular, it's important for all of our community, but in particular for family childcare, because you're split into many, you're the business owner, you're the facilities manager, all of these things, including teacher. So we're looking at that. But in the meantime, certainly we do record these. So as much as we'd love to have you here in person, if you had to choose, you could certainly say, all right, well, I'll go to the one in person and listen to the recording, or check in with Denise to see what I missed. That's something, for now, at least we can help with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Esperanza, though. You're right. I agree. All right. Well, thank you all. I always enjoy, I think I say this every time. I all day is like, oh, I got to work late tonight. And then by the end of this, I'm energized and excited to have seen everybody here and have our dialogue. So I do miss you in between our quarterly meetings. So my email's in the chat box. If there's anything you want to ask or share, or you didn't think about it right now, please feel free to email me. Love to hear from every one of you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night,
Bye-bye.
Denise. Thank
Denise,
you.
Care.
tell Jason
night.
I
Great
said
seeing
hello.
everyone.